Hi. I had a lot of you ask me to make that video about ADHD and how I study with ADHD, so I'm going to try to do that today. Hopefully it's not going to be really scattered. I always feel like I leave things out in my videos. So this is just going to be a really brief version of the video, and then it's kind of like I'm going to see what it is that you would like me to elaborate on, and then maybe I'll go into that in more detail. So anyway, the way that I study is, so for example, this semester I took psychology, and the way that I studied for tests was really, I needed to answer questions. So I would prepare study guides. My study guides are just questions. Sometimes there are questions in the textbook. Sometimes textbooks at the end of every chapter will have like a review page where you can answer questions and stuff like that to quiz yourself. Sometimes there'll be questions that the teacher has actually posted online, or like assignments she's given us. I mean, and some teachers actually put up a study guide for the test where you answer the questions, and those are beautiful. Bless those teachers. So that's what I do. I will either add up the questions in the textbook. Sometimes I will literally, let's say it's like a test on 3 chapters, and each chapter at the end of the textbook has like 20 questions. I will answer I'll take all those questions, put all those questions on my study guide with full answers and pictures. And I will do that, like, I'll make the study guide, then I'll refine the study guide, then I'll retype the study guide, then I'll write the study guide by hand, then I'll orally try and remember by heart, answer the questions that I have on the study guide. Like, that is how I study. It's a lot. I do a lot. I overdo things. I'll take down anything in the chapter. Like, I usually ask the teacher before the test, like, let's say if the textbook has questions at the end of each chapter, I will show the teacher the questions and I'll say, is there anything on the test that I should really know that's not going to be in these questions, or will it be enough if I answer the summary questions at the end of the textbook? And if there's anything, like, the teacher's like, you should really know the diagram on this page, or let's say we're learning about cells, you should really be able to name all the parts of the cell and what they do, stuff like that. And even if they tell me not to, usually if the chapter has something like that, like if we had a chapter on senses, so I will learn how, let's say, the ear processes sound. So like vibrations enter the ear canal, all that stuff, like literally from the point where the sound enters the ear to the point where it's sent to your brain, and then where it's stored in the brain, and like how it goes through like the thalamus, and how it goes to the audio cortex, and like, how those two are different. And I will overlearn, and it sounds exhausting because it is, but that's how I study, and that's how I get 100% on things, or as close as I possibly can. I can't just half study because my brain will not retain information, so I need to really, really drill it in there. So yeah, repetition helps. For me, having to answer the questions not only on paper, but then let's say I'll have my girlfriend read the question to me and I will recite the answer to her, and she'll tell me if I got it right or wrong and stuff like that. Having to teach another person, that really helps me. So if there's a chapter that I'm really trying to learn, I will read and write and, do all the things I can to absorb as much information that I can. So writing down important points, relating how those points link to something else that I've learned that I do remember. And then what I'll do is, while I'm driving with my girlfriend in the car, whatever, I will teach her about it, which she enjoys. She's not being held against her will. She likes when I do this. So I'll teach her about the senses, for example, and how we see or how we hear, or I'll teach her about the nervous system. So like the central nervous system versus the peripheral nervous system, and what they are and what they do, and then the parasympathetic nervous system, the sympathetic nervous system, the autonomic, like it just keeps going. Like, I talk to her about all that stuff, and she's into it because she's also interested in science and studying science. We like to teach each other things, and that really helps me learn the material better because I'm teaching it to someone else. And then I realize when I get stuck on something, if I'm naming, let's say, all the parts of the cerebral cortex and I can't remember one of them, then I'm like, well, I need to go back and I need to remember that one. And then when I go back and look at that, let's say, one part of the cerebral cortex that I forgot, I'm going to remember it because I'm going to go to my girlfriend and be like, okay, so this is the one I was missing. So what I was saying is that this part are responsible for this, and this, and that's why whatever the hell. Like, I remember it because I'm teaching it, and in teaching it, it really helps me find out where my gaps are and where I don't know with the information. Because then that other person who doesn't know anything about it or knows very little about it will ask you questions, and you're like, well, I don't know. And then you go and find the answer, because they have their own questions. They have questions that you might not even realize, like, oh, I should probably know that. I should probably know how that works. Damn. So having another inquiring mind really helps. And number 3, I guess I'll do 3 in this video, like 3 things I do to study, would be more about studying strategies. So for me, specifically, what really, really, really helps are my noise canceling headphones. I have the Bose Quiet Comfort Series 2 headphones. You're rude. Somebody bought them for me for Christmas this year, and I am so grateful. Thank you so much for the headphones. They have been a turning point for me in terms of what I could do and my limitations, and just, oh. You're dramatic. Big, loud, screaming baby. I know. I can't believe it. Do you want to scream at the nice people? So being given a quiet environment makes a huge difference to me. The noise canceling headphones and being in a room where nothing else is happening. So like, even if I'm really focusing on my own thing, if there are things happening around me, I cannot help but even just subconsciously on a different level of my brain, absorb what's going on there. And that does kind of inhibit me from remembering things as efficiently as I otherwise would, because it is a distraction. You know, some people think it's as easy as just like, well, you know, just don't let yourself get distracted. It's like, I don't get to choose that. If I'm making loud noise and I just tell you like, just don't listen to it. Don't let yourself hear the loud noise. It's like, but I do. Okay. So I can't help but be distracted, and that kind of divides my brain and divides its ability to do things. So my suggestion would be, you know, some libraries at schools will have like quiet rooms or group study rooms. You could reserve those for yourself. You could just be one person. If they have an issue, you could just tell them, like, let's say, you know, like I have a learning disability and I need a quiet room to study in, and, you know, I need to talk out loud when I study. That's a big thing for me. I need to be able to talk. While I'm studying, I talk to myself. I'm not having like conversations with myself. I'm reciting the information, saying it out loud, not reading it out loud, but just reciting it, because I'm finding the information in my head and then I'm sending it to my mouth, which, you know, oftentimes there's like a connection between where I'm thinking something and where I say something, where some information is lost. And that same connection where the information gets lost when I say it will also get lost when I write it. So like at a test, I will know the answer, my brain has it, and then it just gets lost on its way to my arm. Like I'm writing it, and as I'm writing it, the next parts have just, they've come too quickly in my mind, and I can't catch them in time. So reciting what it is, like reciting the answers and all that stuff over and over again, even though in my mind I know the answer. If someone were to say it, I'm like, yeah, well, obviously I know that. It's different to just be able to like spew out that information, because it does sort of get lost inside me somehow. So those are all of the tips that I have, you know, for now, for studying with ADHD. I could elaborate more on any of those points if you'd like. I can make more videos about this. There are a lot of other like tiny things that I do, but this is just sort of like a general, what has helped me. And of course, my ADHD medication has helped me as well, but I've already mentioned that before. So I am on Vyvanse or Vivance or however you pronounce it where you live. That's it. So let me know what else you'd like to see. I hope I'm not bombarding you with like all of these like health and mental health videos and stuff like that. It's just that, you know, a lot of people have asked the question, and I felt super alone when I got these diagnoses, so I don't want you to feel alone. And yeah, that's it. If you want trans things, just let me know and I'll go ahead and go over them. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you take care. All right, love you, bye.